This is the Vsb Tv 11 News for Thursday, April 24th. I'm Peter Cattell. Our top story. Last night, yet another promising young Bermudian male's life was cut short after he was gunned down outside of his residence in Southampton. The victim has been identified as Aaron Richardson. This afternoon, Detective Inspector Nicholas Pedro and Detective Inspector Dave Greenwich gave the details of the situation.
Officers actually attended number 16, Riviera Crescent, where officers were directed to a male who was suffering from apparent gunshot wounds. First aid was administered to the male, and emergency medical technicians also made efforts to resuscitate the man, who was conveyed to King Edward Memorial Hospital and tragically succumbed to his injuries. I can confirm that the victim is 29-year-old Mr. Aaron Richardson, who lived at that residence with family members. Investigators understand that Mr. Richardson had been outside the residence when his assailant or assailants shot at him multiple times with a firearm. Mr. Richardson ran into the residence but was unable to escape the gunfire. Officers are extremely keen to speak with anyone that may have seen two males, one tall male on the rear of a motorcycle and a shorter male who was the rider of the bike, who were leaving Riviera Road in Southampton at about the time of this incident. The persons on the bike were in dark clothing, and the motorcycle was described as having a quiet running engine. Officers have collected significant forensic evidence from the scene, and a forensic autopsy is due to be completed in due course. Mr. Richardson was unmarried and had the rest of his life to look forward to living. He leaves behind many family members who are grieving his loss. We are now in the process of piecing together Mr. Richardson's final movements and activity with a view to identifying a motivation for his senseless killing. I'm appealing for anyone that saw this incident or that can provide information as to the suspects in this matter to contact detectives from the Serious Crime Unit. And at this point, I'll hand over to the officer who is going to be the senior investigating officer for this matter, Detective Inspector Dave Greenwich. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. Of course, given the very short nature of the time that has elapsed between the incident and this morning, we've actually had quite positive response from members of the public, and I think it's very prudent that I thank those members of the public that have come forward so far.
Police have stated that they have not ruled out the murder being gang-related. Anyone with any information about the murder is urged to call police or Crime Stoppers on 800-8477. U.S. Consul General Robert Setge has waited until he received an official response from the Ministry of Health before updating his damaging security alert on sewage discharge off the south shore of Bermuda, which went out on March 31st without reference to the Bermuda government. Vsb News' Brian Darby reports on what Mr. Setge had to say in his update.
Last night he sent a blanket email to every American citizen and concerned agency on his list, revealing that the Bermuda authorities had explained to him the steps it had taken in connection with the Seabright outfall. This includes twice-weekly testing of water quality, operating a new sewage treatment at the hospital, working with the Corporation of Hamilton to improve grease collection from local restaurants, and introducing an enhanced primary treatment facility. The consul's message also says the government plans to convert the Tynes-based septic facility from one stage to 2 to remove solids and grease, invest in a new plant at Tynes Bay, and investigate the extension of the Seabright outfall pipe. The email concludes that the ministry has also informed the U.S. consul that according to records there have been no diagnosed cases of typhoid in Bermuda since before 1980. You will recall the consul's alert called on potential visitors to Bermuda to consider receiving inoculations against typhoid and hepatitis. There is no mention in the email of the positive results that have been obtained throughout the month of April from the water testing along the South Shore beaches. Only this morning, a government spokesman reported that the water quality at all beaches tested was well within the safety standards for swimming, and issued the latest table of results for all of the island's beaches. The EPA guideline for a safe beach is 104 colony-forming units per 100 millimeters of seawater. Elbow Beach, Great Bay, Horseshoe Bay, John Smith's Bay, Warwick Long Bay, Shelley Bay and Clearwater were among the major beaches to produce from 0 to 2 CFU per 100 millimeters yesterday. Brian Darby reporting for Vsb News.
Alison Copeland, Biodiversity Officer in the Department of Conservation Services, is engaged in the challenging task of saving our endemic species from extinction while ridding the island of invasive plants and animals. It's a complex struggle for her and her small team of dedicated professionals, but someone has to do it if Bermuda is to retain its natural heritage. Vsb News' Brian Darby asked her how the public can help.
Yeah, because of the way Bermuda works, we're very prone to opening the door to invasive species. Everything we use is imported somehow, either on a ship or on an airplane. We also have so much tourist traffic coming in and out of the island that the ability for species to get here by accident or on purpose is quite high.
You can name them by the dozen.
We can. So an example is the Cuban brown anole is a lizard that we started finding around the island about 2 years ago. And the first time I saw one, a farmer actually showed up in my office with this little lizard in a ginger beer bottle that he'd found coming out of a shipment he'd bought in from Florida. And he looked at it and he thought, that doesn't look quite right to me, so he caught it and he brought it down to us, and we had it identified. And the Cuban brown anole is actually invasive in Florida, and that's where the shipment had come from. The first line of defense against invasive species is early detection and early reporting. So we encourage people, if you, like the farmer, if you see something that doesn't quite look right to you, let us know. So everybody has a phone with a camera now, take a picture of it and send it to us. Like, that's the best way, is if we can see it.
You see it, then you know.
Yeah, then we know.
What impresses me is that with the feral chicken problem, and I guess in some ways the feral cat problem, and even maybe the feral dog problem, you have an access to a program that will bring people into the situation and take care of it. How effective has that been so far?
The feral chicken program has been very effective. Since the program started in 2013, we've culled about 14,500 chickens from around the island. So we have an online request form now that's on our website, so people can go into the form and say, you know, I have 5 chickens, I have 20 chickens on my property, please come and deal with it. So then we log that request, and it gives us permission to access private property to deal with the problem. And we have a lot of invasive species here, so what we do in the department is try to control the level of invasive species and the effect they're having on the habitats so that we can give our precious species a chance.
What's your number one enemy?
Probably Mexican pepper. So it's actually Brazil pepper, but we in Bermuda like to call it Mexican pepper.
The murder trial of Julian Washington continued in Supreme Court today. Julian Washington is accused of shooting and killing father of one, Stephan Burgess, in January of 2012, while he was at a birthday party on Glebe Road. A police officer took the stand in court and told the jury that Washington's father had brought Julian to the police station after police had contacted the family and told them that they needed to speak with the defendant. Once at the police station, Washington's helmet, sneakers, jacket, jeans, and other items were seized. Police informed Washington that he was in custody for suspicion of carrying out murder. Gunshot residue swabs were carried out on Washington's belongings and then sent to a forensic expert for testing. The trial continues. Washington is represented by defense lawyer Larry Mussenden.
You can count on us.
Purdue Fresh Chicken Leg Quarters only $1.69 per pound, saving you $1.10. Save $1 on Yukon Gold potatoes, just $4.99 for a 5-pound bag. Scott 4-roll extra soft toilet tissue, only $3.69. Clean up with Bounty Select-A-Size paper towel, just $2.79 for 1 roll. For a healthy treat, all varieties of Chobani yogurt, only $1.99 for a 6-ounce tub. Visit our website, www.marketplace.pm, for more weekly specials.
You can count on us.
Buying a new bike? Go with the company that offers brand name quality and great after-sales service. Oleander Cycles. Whether you're a daily commuter looking for a reliable ride or business owner sourcing wheels for your delivery team, you'll find bikes to suit your needs at Oleander Cycles. Oleander carries quality bikes from respected manufacturers TGO and TGB, and a full line of accessories from helmets to top boxes and baby seats. Just as important as the bike is the service behind it. Oleander delivers with 7-day-a-week service in our 4 locations, same-day service with appointment, an extensive inventory of parts, and a 6-month warranty on new bikes. Visit our Hamilton or Paget showroom today. Best bikes, best service, Oleander Cycles.
Just name any charitable organization in Bermuda, and the likelihood is that 30-year veteran of community service, Helene Dill, will be ranked among its volunteers. She started in the Brownies, and now, as a senior, she is helping find grocery vouchers for needy families. And it came as no surprise that Bermuda Cablevision should today present her with its Community Service Award, plus a $1,000 donation to the charity of her choice. Vsb News' Brian Darby asked her where the commitment had come from.
I love people. I like doing for people, and the Brownie motto was lend a hand, and the Lions motto was we serve. And hence, during the years, I just love people, like doing for people, particularly the seniors, and at sometimes young people, young families, and that's what makes me want to move ahead and continue to do it today.
Do people encourage you, or do they marvel?
Oh yes, they do encourage me, simply because they know what I do, and if they know someone in need, at times they will call me, and I will put them on the right track as to where to go, particularly in this time, people looking for grocery vouchers, they're looking for food, they're looking for clothes, they're looking for...
You can help them with that?
Oh yes. I put them on the track where they need to go, whether it's with government or any private entities. It doesn't matter where it is. I just help them wherever I can.
Well, that wonderful thing, if you want something done, give it to a busy person.
I've heard that before.
Is it true of you?
Yes.
Well, you're a special breed. Bermuda seems to have a lot of special breeds, people who are prepared to give their all. Are we special? Are we different?
No, they're out there, but you just need to find them. And there are people out there that are in need, and I know there are people out there that's looking to help. So I would suggest they get in touch with the Center for Empathy and just volunteer for communities. And there are people that's done much more than I have and haven't been recognized, and that's not what we look for. No. But I know that they will continue to serve.
The Learning Disabilities Association of Bermuda is finding it tough going to provide the total support that it knows is needed throughout the community, where the number of students with learning disabilities is surprisingly large. Vsb News' Brian Darby asked board member Jennifer Simmons if the charity was getting the encouragement and help it required from government and parents.
Not entirely. We've made great strides, particularly over the last year. We've been working with the department on making them aware of students with learning disabilities, and that includes all students as far as their education is concerned. We've been trying to work very closely with them on the paper that they've produced. We've had some of the students and parents that are involved in our group have a say in the paper. So we're hoping to be more involved in the future with working with them. Of course, you know, it's a little setback now with
money.
Yeah. So whoever,
not the first to say.
Hopefully whoever takes over the position will be just as open to moving the learning support students ahead. But we have some very good people down at the department that are getting on board and doing things behind the scenes.
And some good volunteers in your group?
Not as many as we would like, but the people that we do have are devoted. There's so many learning disabilities that, you know, this dyslexia, and we sort of embrace all of them, and like ADHD, and some of them parents don't even have a name for it.
The LDAB has launched for the first time this year a Teacher of the Year contest, in which it is the children in the middle schools and not the grown-ups who choose their favorites. We'll have more details tomorrow night. Now, here's the Reinsurance Business Report, presented by Bermuda Re. Bermuda Reinsurance News, brought to you by Bermuda Re. Allied World Bermuda has purchased and donated wheelchairs from Medical House to healthcare organizations across Bermuda. Axis Capital Holdings Limited announced the appointment of David Phillips as Executive Vice President and Chief Investment Officer. He will report to Albert Bencheval, President and CEO. Phillips has more than 18 years' experience in investments. Most recently, he was the head of investments for Partner Re. XL Group's reinsurance segment has announced it will establish operations in Dubai to serve the Middle East market and act as a regional hub for the business. XL Group has announced the appointments of Mohammed Alali as Senior Executive Officer and Iman Hamadouche as a property facultative underwriter, both based in its new reinsurance office in Dubai. Bermuda-based Endurance has appointed Richard Housley as Executive Vice President and Global Property Insurance Lead. He will be responsible for launching Endurance's property business in London, as well as building the company's property insurance book in the Americas and globally. Everest Re posted strong growth but a decline in net profits in its first quarter results as alternative capacity becomes an increasing part of its reinsurance offering. Its chief executive warned that the market faces challenging conditions, but noted that Everest is looking to ramp up its alternative reinsurance capacity. Commenting on its strategic approach, Dominique Adesso, Everest Re's CEO, says alternative reinsurance capacity is increasingly part of our strategy, coming into play both offensively and defensively as we seek ways to optimize our returns. That's Bermuda Reinsurance News, brought to you by Bermuda Re. Now, here is a look at the daily markets, presented by Bias.
U.S. equities fluctuated as corporate earnings continued to come in, while European stocks gained on increased M&A news. U.S. stocks fluctuated after the S&P 500 index approached a record as better-than-forecast earnings by Apple offset telecommunications stock declines led by Verizon. The index ended the day up 0.17% to close at 1,879. Above-average trading was witnessed in Bank of Butterfield stock today, with the price gaining 2.5%. Bermuda-related stocks listed in the U.S. were mixed. European stocks rose, rebounding from yesterday's loss on increased merger and acquisition news. The FTSE gained 0.42% to close at 6,703, while the French CAC was up 0.64% before ending the day at 4480. Japanese shares fell as the index retreated from a two-week high as the yen appreciated and Japan and the U.S. struggled to forge a trade agreement. The Nikkei closed at 14,405, down 0.97%. Latin American markets closed higher at the end of trading today. The Brazilian index gained 0.42% to close at 51,786, while the Mexican Bolsa was up 0.17% to close at 40,364. U.S. Treasury prices rose after the sale of $29 billion worth of new debt attracted strong demand from foreign central banks. The 10-year Treasury currently yields 2.68%, down 1 basis point. The Japanese yen reached the strongest level in a week against the dollar as increased tensions between Russia and Ukraine boosted the demand for safety. The yen appreciated 0.23% versus the dollar as of the last trade. And that was a look at the daily markets, brought to you by Bias.
We live in a beautiful environment. One way to help keep it that way is to always remember your reusable grocery bag. If you forgot, you can still do your part in saving our planet by buying a Marketplace green bag for only $1.19. Not only are they good for groceries, but they're handy for many other uses. Always have your bags in sight of you or put your grocery list in one so that you don't forget your reusable bags. You and the Marketplace are helping to save the environment by choosing to reuse.
Help build a lasting legacy with the Bermuda Hospital's Charitable Trust. Support our hospital by purchasing a 4x8-inch brick for the Legacy Walkway. Your engraved brick will be predominantly featured outside the new acute care wing. You can customize your brick with a personal message, a tribute, names of family members, or even a special thank you. Call 295-2428 or visit bhct.bm to make arrangements for your legacy brick today.
People and Places with Charles Webb. Mondays in the Vsb Tv 11 Evening News at 7:30, 8:30 and midnight. Sponsored by Big Saving Zone at the end of Stocks Road, St. David's.
It's official. The 12th annual Belco Cup next month will now involve 10 teams with champions Southampton Rangers and St. David's through to the semi-finals. 4 playoff matches are slated for May the 4th. Cuts meet Bridge, Cleveland face the Wreck, Stars take on St. George's, and Somerset host Bay. The winners will battle for a place in the semi-finals on May the 10th. Semi-finals remain on May 17th, with the finals on May 18th. Bermuda Cricket Board official Nyan Steed explains how the new format came about. We also hear that the captain of the reigning champions, Dion Stovall, is against the new format.
Last year, Belco indicated that they want to make the competition bigger and expand on it. And when they looked at it, they decided that they want to include more teams to make it more competitive, more interesting, and over a longer period of time. So this was the brainchild of Belco, and it is shaping up to be an important and interesting season opener. It's going to give the teams an opportunity to get some cricket under the belt before the season starts. But also, we have a big cup competition to look for to start the cricket season.
I ain't too much for the format, but I'd like to thank Belco for every year's providing this tournament. I think based on last year's performances from other teams, I think the top 4 teams to me should have stayed and played a semi-final, because it gives teams like Bayless Bay an opportunity to, to try and win it again. And I think personally, they played some poor cricket last year, but they got another lifeline. So for me, as captain of Southampton Rangers, we always look to win the competition and be competitive. So for us, again, we have to train hard, play hard, and look to win it. Retain the title, actually.
Yes, yes. Picked up any players? Interesting players this season, or lost anybody of significant value?
I guess you have to see heavy play. I don't really want to get into that too much. So.
What do you think of the fact that other teams were coming to meet you and St. David's having played matches?
I think it's a disadvantage, to be honest. Like I said before, teams like Bay and Cuts, who strengthen the teams, are going to play each other, so they'll have 1 or 2 games or maybe 3 games under the belt. So, it gives teams like Rangers and St. David's a kind of disadvantage, because it's limited mistakes. Playing against Cuts and Bay, one of the 2 big clubs in the island, is they will know the weaknesses and the strengths. So maybe you just have to play it, I guess.
It has been revealed that the first day for matches in the 50-over Premier League is May the 11th. The weather report is next, after the break.
April is Environmental Awareness Month, and Vsb Tv 11 is airing relevant documentaries exploring environmental issues concerning all of us on Wednesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m. and 9 p.m. for the month of April. Sponsored by Auto Solutions, Roll With Us, Belco, The Power to Save, and Lindo's, Why Go Anyplace Else? Environmental Awareness Month on Vsb Tv 11.
Well, lots of wind and rain made for a kind of ugly day. I'm Shea Barker, and this is your weather. Let's take a look at our weather shots for today. And you can see, this is taken by Joe Rain at 1:45 off of Shelley Bay, and you can see what I mean about that rain. I was just up at up near by the water on North Shore, and it is blowing pretty hard. And you can see the waves rippling in off of Shelley Bay. A great shot, though, sent in by Jill Rain. Our second shot was taken by Mary Ewells this afternoon in Church Bay, and one of the moments where it must have been nice, because this is just a lovely shot. Looks like it was a nice day. This is going to be a tough one to beat for our weather shot of the week. Our highs and lows for today. Well, I saw our high temperature. It was a little cool, actually. 70 degrees at 1 p.m. was our high. 65 our low temperature at 7 a.m. this morning. Currently, we're looking at 69 degrees. Humidity 65%. Winds out of the west-northwest at 24 to 32 knots. You can see the gusts all the way up to 42, and it is breezy out there. Barometric pressure rising at 30 inches. So far for April, we've seen 2.45 inches of rain, brings our total up to 21.54 inches. We saw quite a bit over the last couple of days. Normally, we'd have seen 17.78 inches for the year, so we're still way up on our total. Take a look at our satellite map. Well, this high pressure is slowly building in here from the west, bringing drier conditions. Winds will remain strong with occasional storm force gusts and continued gale force gusts into the overnight hours. Winds will then decrease to moderate on Friday. You can see not much on its way, but another front will then approach late on Saturday, bringing some showers, a chance of thunder, and increased winds on Sunday morning. In the gateway cities, Atlanta will be partly cloudy and 78, 59 and partly cloudy in Boston. Charlotte, mostly cloudy and 77 degrees, 63 and heavy rain in London. Miami, partly cloudy and 84 degrees, 63 and mostly cloudy in New York, partly cloudy and 88 in Orlando, mostly cloudy in Philadelphia and 64, 46 and light rain in Toronto, and in Washington there is possible rain and 74 degrees. For tonight, looking at a low temperature of around 65 degrees, partly cloudy, winds out of the west-northwest at 30 to 35 knots, and you can see those gusts all the way up to 50 knots, so make sure you tie up your deck chairs. Decrease to 20 to 25 knots, though, later on. For tomorrow, high temperature of around 71, partly cloudy, winds out of the west-northwest at 20 to 25 knots. They will decrease later on out of the 18 to 24 knots, then they'll decrease again, 12 to 18 knots, and you see the trend? Decreasing again to 10 to 15 knots overnight. For mariners tonight, there is a gale warning and a small craft warning in effect. Seas inside the reef 2 to 4 feet, and look at this. Seas outside the reef 6 to 18 feet, with a sea temperature 74 degrees. For mariners tomorrow, there is still a small craft warning in effect. Seas inside the reef 2 to 4 feet. Seas outside the reef 6 to 16 feet. High tide at 5:58 a.m. and your low tide at 12:14 p.m. Take a look at the 5-day forecast. Friday, partly cloudy, high of 71. Saturday, it'll be partly to mostly cloudy with a few showers overnight, high of 72. Sunday, sunny breaks, a few showers, and the temperature will come up. Chance of morning thunder, 74 degrees. Monday, sunny periods, high of 71. And Tuesday, partly to mostly cloudy, and the temperature comes back up to 74 degrees. I'd like to thank the Bermuda Weather Service for all their help. That's it for me. Stay dry, stay cool, stay safe. See you soon.
I'm Peter Javetic, host of Season to Taste. Tune in on Tuesday night during the Vsb Tv 11 News. I'll have Chef Paul Lawrence here, owner of the Hickory Stick. He's going to be preparing lionfish for us, this invasive species, and find out what the Gosling's wine of the week is.
Tuesday during the Vsb Tv 11 News.
Thanks for watching the TV 11 News. Good night.
Peter Cattell's attire courtesy of A.S. Cooper & Sons Limited.
Vsb TV 11, Bermuda.